which is these boys, done something they shouldn't have done, but it's going to dig up a lot of the past.
Yep.
And implicate
a lot of politicians, a lot of those boys, a few of these boys.
But who'd you say you got to worry about?
You got to worry about those boys.
And those boys want everything back the way that it was.
Right.
Like you said, left alone, back in the holler, doing what they want to do. You don't come unless you live there or you're invited.
Right.
That way, you ain't got to worry about nobody's kid getting gone. Because everybody knows that stuff don't work with those boys. But we're getting older. Now listen, I got my battle scars and been in the bar fights. I've kicked ass and I've had my ass kicked. I've drunk liquor. I've cooked moonshine. I've drank moonshine. I've done a little bit of it all here and there. You know, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Drink, hoot, holler, raise hell. And what better place to do it in a place like Beach Creek.
Up in the holler.
Grassy Creek, where the law ain't going to come.
Right.
And you've heard Dawn and Jody Sue both talk about the law not coming down there after dark. Now, that's the way things was back then. And you didn't know I was as old as what I am, but when I'm talking, you know, like I said, it was late 80s, early 90s when I was running around down there.
Right.
My dad was before that. So my dad fits in with those boys' ages.
Right.
I'm falling in to when, like I said, the moonshine was going out and the marijuana was coming in and was out of there when the meth and the hard stuff, the pills, the pain clinics and all that started coming in. So I was out of there at the tail end of, I guess you could call the more loyal people. Now it's turning into the more these boys and the meth people, and they act a whole lot different. Like I said, you know, you can look at the crime rate and everything and the differences in the changes as the years go on. And you've got a lot of the, just like happening everywhere in the country, you got the older generations dying off. They leave the old home place to the kids. The kids don't want to farm it, or they're wiped out on dope. So they end up selling it, and then new people move in. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But the new people that move in ain't no different than these boys that are moving out, because the property value is so low down there that it's affordable to people that, and no offense here, but to poorly educated people that struggle with addiction, with alcoholism. With that breeds your domestic violence, your SA, and all that. So it just continues, but you end up with a new breed of people that do a lot different things than what used to go on down there, even though there was a lot of illegal things that went on down there. It's a change in the culture, I guess.
Yeah.
You could say. And a lot of the people, they like the old ways.
Well, it's the same way here in Cotton County, babe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I tell you what, I guarantee there's hollers in Cotton County that I wouldn't go in after dark unless I knew somebody.
Right.
And that's not being scared. That's just
being smart.
That's just knowing the area around here that you just don't. I mean, that's rude. You know, you just don't go in and harass people. You leave people be on their own property or whatever. Now, you know, if your kid was missing, it'd be a little bit different. But if your dog was missing, you'd probably wait till daylight.
Yep.
You know? But that's just, I mean, and I guess people just, maybe they just don't understand. You know, that was my whole reason ever coming on YouTube to begin with, was to try to explain this area and how it works and stuff.
Me too. Seriously, that is exactly it. Because we're from here, and people were getting crazy ideas about, you know, the bad stereotype reputation that Tennessee people have. Or I don't know how to explain it, but that is exactly why I started my YouTube channel, because nobody would listen to what I was saying. Right. I'm from here, guys. I know what it's like.
Right.
And it drove me crazy. So I started my own channel so I could get my own opinion out there.
I'm glad you did, because it's much needed. That's for sure.
Well, thank you.
I understand, you know, people, you know, all over the world and all over the United States are interested in it just like we are. And it's no offense to them, but it would be like me trying to figure out a drive-by shooting in Detroit or Chicago or New York City. I would not even have a clue. I would not even have a clue. But if I knew somebody that lived there, that'd be the first person I would want to hear from.
Right. Exactly.
Figure out how that place worked, and, you know, because I sure couldn't. And I sure wouldn't. I mean, I guess it's just the way that we're raised here. I sure wouldn't be going and poking my nose in people's business.
Honey, trust me. I was on the street of Detroit. People want to put Candace down for being a carny. I wasn't exactly a carny. There are different areas when you work for the fair and stuff. And I was actually on the independent line. But we did parades and stuff, and we did a parade in Detroit. And while I was out there selling my items, somebody started shooting a gun off, and there was over 200 people in a mass running down the street. You want to talk about scared?
Gee.
People were hiding everywhere. I went back to my boss and I said, "You can fire me. I am not going back out there. Period. Not happening." I've never been so scared in my life.
Well, see, I've been working on, I'm done now, because you got to have it done by Easter, is you get your next year's firewood out of the weather. If you've got a place, get it out of the weather for the next winter. So I've been moving this coming up winter's firewood out of the weather.
Right.
And I was out there and I didn't even notice it, how long it had been going on, because it's just nothing for me to hear. But I get my heart rate flies up because, like I said, my nervous system don't take care of it the way it's supposed to. So I was out there, and I'd bent down and I was loading up my dolly, and I stood up and I got dizzy and my heart was flying and everything. So I just was kind of standing there. And while I was standing there getting my bearings, I heard my neighbor was out there target practicing.
Yeah.
Gun going off, just pow, 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 pow. And then a few minutes, and I got thinking, I was like, there's one of those things that, 99% of people on YouTube would never even understand, that I could be out here in my yard and not even thinking about ducking or getting out of the way or nothing. And there's live gunfire going off, just across the field,
Right.
and don't even think a thing about it,
Well, it's because most of the people around here know, they have common sense enough to know what direction to shoot in.
But what I do here, which other people would never even pay attention to, is I can guarantee you I'll know if a car comes up my road up here.
Yeah.
And people are like, you don't even notice gunfire, but you're on red alert when you hear a car. Yep, pretty much.
Absolutely. Because you don't know who's coming up in that car.
That's right.
Or what they're wanting. But you got a fair chance of knowing what direction that bullet's going to, oh, shoot. That thing is going to be going, because people have common sense. They know to shoot away from houses and stuff.
Yep. The way I live right now is, I can tell is the minute, now my road, it's got a few curves in it, but there's one area when you're coming down the road before you start up my piece of the holler, is the headlights will shine through my door and hit my wall.
Right.
And if I know if those headlights hit that wall before they start the curvy part coming up to my holler, they've already passed the last driveway that's on the road. So I know they're either coming to visit me, which it's after dark, and ain't nobody comes to visit me after dark. So there I know they ain't supposed to be here, or they're lost. So yeah, I'm definitely paying attention. If I see a headlight hit that wall right now, I'm going to get my sidearm off of my coffee table and I'm going to walk over to my front door right there. And I'm going to see if they pull in my driveway, or if they do like you see everybody does on Ben Hill Road, if they pull up and back up there a couple of times and head on back out the road.
Right.
Because like I said, it's after dark. You ain't got no business being here, because I didn't invite you. And I live by myself, so I know you don't live here. So my question is, what are you here for? I need to know this,
Right. I zipped you an email over just so I could save your email address. So when I find that tomorrow, I can send it to you.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I don't know what we're going to do with this Wells and Bly and Harrer crew.
Send them back to Wisconsin, Arizona, Texas. Where do they come from? Florida and Texas, I believe. Dawn was born in Florida, and Candace was born in Texas. So maybe we need to send them back there.
Golly, I'd about hate to put that problem off on anybody.
Well, that's true.
I heard somebody say the other day, which other people's mentioned it before on different things, we need a deserted island somewhere out in the middle of the ocean where we can just ship people like this and put them all together and just let them do whatever the hell they do till they all wipe each other out.
Right.
It's a gene pool we don't need to continue.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, well, All Good says, well, Don's going to Utah, so we ain't going to have to worry about him.
Yeah.
Actually, I hope he doesn't. I really do. I hope he goes to jail here. If he gets shipped to Utah before he gets charged with this, then all we're going to ever get is a conviction. He's not coming back out of prison from Utah. He will never see a jail cell in the name of Summer Wells if he gets locked up in Utah before he gets charged here.
Yeah, I wonder how they would go about doing that.
That's exactly what they'll do, hon. If he's already in jail and prison in Utah, all we can hope for is a conviction here. He'll get a conviction and they'll announce his sentencing, but it's not going to add any more time onto what he's already going to be spending. So we'll have a paper that says he's guilty. This is how much jail time he got. But he's not ever going to come back to Tennessee and serve the time for the crime that he committed here.
Oh, wow.
Now, Candace, on the other hand, maybe Candace would actually go to jail here and actually spend time here. But Don won't, not if they ship him to Utah. And
I
that's,
wish they still had old Brushy Mountain down here in Tennessee.
I know it's exactly what I was just thinking. And maybe I'm wrong for that. I mean, I want him to be punished for all the crimes that he's committed. But I myself, I'm sorry, I would much rather him be sentenced in a court of law here and go to prison here in Tennessee and have to deal with the people that know what has happened to this baby girl and have to live day to day with those people compared to him going to Utah and spending the rest of his life in prison down there for crimes that were committed over 40 years ago, and those people ain't gonna care.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, he deserves to go to jail for all of it, but
Well, I mean, I guess if it come down to it, we'll take whatever we can get, right?
right, he deserves all of them, and it don't really matter which order they come in. And I would rather him go to prison up there than to get away with everything here scot-free and not go to prison at all. But, you know, I would love to see him and Candace go to jail in Summer's name.
Yes, definitely.
And the boys.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget about them boys.
Well, I've heard, I mean, you hear varying things about the boys, but I've heard a lot of positive stuff here recently about them now. You know, is it true or not? And that was another thing I was going to talk about on my live tonight about some of the stuff that we've heard, good and bad. You know, is it, have we seen any proof of any of it? Has anybody got any kind of documentation of any of it? And that's the thing where you run in, you know, like we were talking earlier, you know, being children, everything's locked down a whole lot tighter, as it should be.
Right.
As it should be. But, you know, I hope the best for them boys.
I do too, hon. I hope the stories that, not all of them, but the good part of the stories that supposedly came out the other day, I hope they are true. I hope the boys are together. I hope they are happy and getting what they need right now. I mean,
Yeah.
it said they don't want to come back home, which I mean they shouldn't ever.
I have heard that. I have heard they're doing good. I haven't heard one way or the other if they're together.
That was part of. See, I didn't even watch that interview. I don't know if you were in here when I said that earlier. I have gotten to the point where I don't even hardly watch anybody's channel anymore. I just flip through and look at the headlines and
Right,
see what the titles are, and you can pretty much tell what's in there.
right.
But I do remember the other day it was that about that interview. Oh no, I did watch about 10 minutes of it, the Ziggy and Cher show,
Oh,
and
okay.
it was said that they were all together, and also Jeannie, Candace's sister, went on crimes, critters, crazy, all on the farm or something like that,
Yeah.
and she said that they were, yes, they were all together.
Okay. Okay,
There's
good.
also a friend of the foster parent out here running around letting people know stuff too privately.
Now that's where the information that I've got
Okay.
that's what Donna Serafina's crew was trying to get a hold of me from because
Really?
they know that I know I'm not getting into all that. I'm not stirring all that stuff up again. But yeah,
Well, it's more than just
I did hear though that the middle one was extremely smart.
yeah, and AB honor roll or something like that. Yeah.
I heard they caught up real quick. I did hear some things, that their uh, immunization
Yeah.
was not, it's up to date now, but it wasn't. Now, again, I don't, because that's medical records, I don't know.
Right.
It's good to hear, but it shows that, and I don't see that's the thing, I don't think that's a huge surprise. You
Right.
know,
It's not.
I don't think anybody thinks that, you know, Candace was this loving, nurturing mother that made sure her 4 kids got all their shots and boosters and were ready to go to school, and got their teeth cleaned every 6 months and had their yearly annual physical at their doctor. And, I don't think anybody believes that any of that ever happened.
Right.
You know,
I want to point out too, though. I want to point this out because I do try to look at both sides. Um, Not that I'm for Candace or any of that, and I do think all children need their immunizations. But let's point out the fact that if you had another set of parents out here who were totally against immunization and never got not the first one on their child because of their religion, and that is possible,
yeah, well, that's true.
they would not be considered bad parents. They would not have CPS called on them.
That's a good point.
So the boys and some are not being caught up on their immunizations can't technically be held against Dawn and Candace as bad parents. We all know they are, but I'm just saying.
Right.
Because I mean, I do try to point out all aspects of it.
That is a good point. Yeah.
That's just like people were attacking David Dotson. And okay, fine. If the man is guilty of something, yes, he should be right there along with everybody else. But they were talking about where he just up and ran and he, got out of Dodge. And I'm like, folks, this man showed up 3 months to that SDA church before summer got gone. He had just started getting to know these people. I'm just saying, if he's innocent, he had just started getting to know these people. When Summer came up missing, he went up there. He was literally trying to just help out, take those boys away from the situation, get their minds off things for a while. If he's innocent and then he gets attacked the way he got attacked and accused of everything he got accused of, if you were innocent and you were in that situation, wouldn't you have gotten out of Dodge?
Yeah.
So, I mean, people are just jumping all over him because he left the church and went back to the Baptist church. And, nobody sees anything from him anymore. Well, if the man's innocent, I don't blame him one bit.
Yeah. I never really thought nothing about David Dotz. I mean, I think he's a weird dude.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
I never, he never really crossed my radar. Even in, the very beginning, I was like, well, he told a couple of things that doesn't really match up, but I think he's just weird.
Right. What about Tim Mullen?
He's definitely a weird guy. I don't like him. I think he's
William Goad.
Well, I've heard that. I think I started hearing that, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago, that he's supposedly a goat related to the goats somehow.
Well, I've heard today, actually. I mean, I heard that a couple of days ago too, but today it started coming out that he might possibly be William Goad's son.
Oh, like his biological son?
Yeah.
So that would make him and Dawn stepbrothers.
Right. But it would also mean that he should have gotten the property.
Not stepbrothers, half brothers.
No, step. Half means that you share a parent. They didn't share a parent.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But that would also explain, if that's true, and it's hypothetical, guys, allegedly, if that is the case, he would have been mad if he didn't get that property and Dawn did. That would also make it understandable why he got the property signed over to him when Dawn went to jail.
Huh.
Just in case Candace goes to jail.
Huh.
Yeah, it makes you do that, don't it? Makes you scratch your head and say,
Boy, I bet there's all kinds of people doing genealogy on him now.
I mean, I throw ideas out there, Scott. I don't necessarily believe all of them, but I try to put different possibilities out there, because unless we get some of them ruled out, we're never going to narrow it down to what may or may not have happened.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't. That'll be interesting to see if anybody comes up with any, like true ancestry genealogy on him, proving it.
Right.
The way that we did, with Dawn, we didn't have to, but we, decided we'd dig in and see, and we found out, he's just related by marriage.
Right.
So,
hey, what
it'll be interesting to see here the next day or so, because people be quick on it.
Your thoughts on the flower bed thingy on top of Karen's grave, and the fact that chain link fence was cut on the backside of that graveyard right next to that grave.
Okay. I was watching Scott E. Skulls last night.
Uh-huh.
And he had went to the graveyard while he was down here. I don't know if he's went back home or not. I hadn't been on YouTube much today. I was sleeping. He went up to the graveyard, and those wooden ring things are like the wooden ring that's around in the circle.
Yeah.
Those are like, you can buy them at Lowe's or whatever. They're like landscaping borders.
Right. Flower bed liners. Yeah. Or edgers. Yeah.
And what they said that was, there were people in Scott's chat. One person from West Tennessee said they had seen it at graveyards before, and then some people out west were saying that they had seen it before. Apparently, some people do that. They put the wooden things up so that the lawnmowers, the caretakers of the graveyard, don't mow down the flowers. That way they can plant like perennials, and that is just a way to have fresh flowers on their loved one's grave instead of having to come out and put flowers on the headstone or whatever.
Right. Okay, I got something to go with that.
And that made sense. I was like, hell, that's a pretty damn good idea, really.
That is a good idea, but listen to this, Scott. Think about it. Everybody was all in an uproar about that flower bed and the cutting the fence until William Goad's relatives, his nieces and nephews or whatever it was, got on there and started raising Cain about people going and taking pictures of their loved ones' graves. Wait a minute, they weren't taking pictures of William Goad, who you are actually related to. They were taking pictures of Dawn Wells's mother's grave, who you are not related to. And the flower bed was on her grave, not William Goad's.
Oh.
So why were those people raising so much Cain, or was it really them?
Huh.
Nothing about Karen Goad was related to those people. I'm sure they weren't close to her. And if they were all obsessed about family graves, why didn't they put the flower bed on their actual blood relative?
Right. I didn't pay attention to the actual placement.
Yeah.
That it was just on Karen.
Right. It was just on Karen's grave.
Well, according to Jody Sue and maybe, shoot, I know I heard it somewhere else. Apparently, Dawn's mom was kind of a cuckoo woman, from what I can gather.
Right.
She was like kind of eccentric, maybe the word.
Right. Yeah.
So they may not have, well, number one, like you said, they may not have liked her. Number two, she may have been crazy and they just didn't want to go around and, deal with her. So, I mean, there's reasons I could see why, maybe I don't know. I never really thought much about that.
Well, I think it's strange that they were raising Cain about Karen Goad's grave when their actual relative was right next to her. They didn't put flowers on his grave. Nobody was complaining about, people taking pictures of his grave.
Right.
It was just Karen Goad's, somebody they weren't even related to, that Dawn was actually related to. And come on, to be honest, even if it was somebody that I didn't want or didn't love or whatever, if they were that concerned with her grave, don't you think they would want to know if there was something perhaps maybe buried there?
Right. Well, I'm sure they probably checked it. They've about had to, because I'd say 40 million people, I still get emails.
Do you?
10 months in, I still get emails, people going, do you think they checked that graveyard across the street? Me and Jody Sue were actually talking about that not last night. Like I said, she's pissed off at me right now. 2 nights ago, maybe.
Right.
We were talking about, somebody was talking about the graveyards and everything. And we were talking about, and it's probably the same way down in Cotton County, I know, not that long ago, within the past probably 75 years, they was burying people out in their cow pastures, in their backyards.
Oh yeah.
They
Well,
didn't even have cemeteries or go to cemeteries. And then eventually, as the communities grew up, they made cemeteries a place to bury, all the people. But, back in the old days when it was horse and buggy roads, and nobody lived out there for miles and miles and miles. When somebody died, the only place you had to bury them
was in your backyard or up on the hill next to the tree. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, honey, my daughter-in-law, or my ex-daughter-in-law, her mother passed in 2015, and they own their own property. I mean, granted, you have to go to the health department and get a certificate to do it, but her mom is buried out in her yard.
Right.
So it still happens to this day.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I wonder, when was the law passed where you had to start even getting a certificate or whatever you got to get to bury somebody on your land?
I would say it was when they started, when populations started getting heavy in a certain area, because you wouldn't want to just bury somebody and then somebody try to drill for a well, that kind of thing.
True.
So if they grouped them together, this is a certain area, don't dig for anything in this area.
Right.
And that's why you have to get the certificates from the health department now if you want to make a family plot in your yard, is so that anybody, not that you would ever sell, but like any future generations, they know, hey, there is somebody buried here, don't dig here.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
Been out of the loop. Was Benny K arrested, please? When was Benny K supposedly arrested?
Huh. I don't know. I've been on here with you. I haven't got any emails or anything saying anything.
I haven't either, sweetheart. I'm just
Crazy.
catching the chat every now and then, which is something I don't normally do. So you need to feel very honored.
Right.
Because I mean, I do. I'm taking time out tonight for me because I'm enjoying myself. But normally I'm all in my chat, talking, reading everything. Putting it up on the screen, discussing everything with my group.
Or they'll fire me. They'll boycott me.
No, they won't. They love your voice.
Well, it's been fun. I've enjoyed the conversation for sure.
I have too. I'm so glad that you popped in.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I've been trying to get Don B to come on panel, and no.
Yeah, I don't think he's much on the lives, or doesn't seem to be.
No, he's not.
Well, I just got Daisy Cassidy. Says, I just left one of Nana's live streams where you were the guest panelist, and I've now subbed to your channel as well. Well, thank you very much, Daisy Cassidy.
Yeah, she asked me what the name of your channel was, so that she could go and sub to you. Don B is me and him sit and talk like me and you have been talking. We sit and talk like this on the phone. He's just not. He's a shy person. He really is.
Right. Oh, well, I mean, that's fine.
It's not fine for me. He's supposed to be a friend. He ought to be up here.
Right.
Can you mention another channel here that's stated.
He said that he was gonna do a live a while back.
Yeah, he says he did do a live. He did now, Scott. He did a live when Megan Boswell went to court. He flipped the computer open. He turned on his phone. He pointed it at the computer, and he said, I think 3 sentences through the whole 30 minutes. The rest of the time, it was Megan Boswell.
Oh, right. Yeah. So it was just like a video.
Yeah.
Dang it, one. We're going to have to get after him.
We are. That's what made me do my first live, is because me and him had a bet going. And then he's like, no, I've got this to do and that to do. So you go ahead and do one. As soon as you do one, I'll do one. Yeah, that didn't work. So I've really enjoyed having you tonight. I love being able to have an intelligent conversation with somebody, discuss something that I'm interested in. Before I started my channel, all my kids were ready to put me in an insane asylum because they thought I'd lost my cotton picking mind.
Yeah, I can understand. Well, I can't. My son knows that I do it, but I don't. He subscribes to my channel because he likes to see, it grow and stuff like that. He thinks it's pretty neat, but I don't think he ever watches anything that I do.
My daughter is the same way. She did watch it to begin with, but then, she's got kids, she's dealing with the house and stuff, and she has her own interests. She's more political now. So, but she just told me the other day, she's like, Mom, I can't tell you how proud I am of you for doing that. Now, all my kids are real proud of me for starting my channel, but no, they ain't going to listen to it. They won't listen to me in real life. You really think they're going to come on YouTube and watch me?
Yeah, true. That's a very good point. Yeah.
So, do you have any grandkids, Scott?
No, I don't. I don't know if I'm going to have any or not either, but that's all right. That's a whole different conversation there.
Right. Wasn't trying to be nosy.
I don't know. He's
He's old enough to have kids, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
He's navigating life is the best way that I can say it. Trying to get the money saved and the planning to, buy a house and get the career started and,
right.
All that kind of stuff. So.
What do you think about Sharfie Jr.?
I think he's scum.
Somebody asked me to ask you that hours ago, and I forgot.
Well,
yeah, he's scum. He is.
The way I read it, and somebody, pointed it out to me, because when I first did that, and you got to know me, and which you probably do because you watch my channel, I'll ask a lot of, and the people that know me, they know this. I ask a lot of rhetorical questions. And a lot of times I ask questions because I want you to think. I want people to go, why did he ask that question?
Right.
Well, sometimes I'll do things like I did with Donald Sherfy. I went to school with Donald Sherfy. I graduated with Donald Sherfy.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
I knew who that was. What I wanted to do was I wanted my chat to put in there what they heard his name was, because I knew my audience would know that I was asking that for a reason. Now I act like I couldn't hear it,
Right.
so that they could put their thinking caps on. And sure enough, in just a matter of a few minutes, people were popping up with Donald Sturfy Jr. and his charges, because I knew that's what they would do. I didn't have to say a word. All I had to do was just point them in the right direction, let them use their own brain, and let them find the exact same thing that I found. Because it's all out there if you just put your mind to it and look.
Right.
Well, then I go back over and I read his charges and stuff. And he uploaded stuff. Now, it's one thing to download stuff and watch it. It's another, I think he used Snapchat and I can't remember a couple of apps. What he was doing was soliciting photographs of young girls, taking those photographs and uploading them so that other people could watch them. So it's it's bad enough to watch child blankety blank blank blank,
Right.
but to create it,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother level of sickening.
Yeah.
So I don't think a whole lot about him, to be honest. I think it's pretty depraved. And like I said, it's bad enough to watch it.
But
when you're soliciting girls and getting their stuff and then creating the child blankety blank and uploading it so that other sickos like you can watch it.
right.
Yeah, that's sick. That's sick.
It is. It really is. And when I done my video on him, because I really do, Scott, try not to, like, when Agranda's done her interview, and everybody was doing the same story over and over again. I try not to do that. I'll try to go find something else to do a story on. But I did a story on Sherfy, and my point was, okay, everybody was hollering he had no connection with the Wells. Well, first of all, we don't know that he didn't have connections with them. And I think actually Don Wells actually said that, yes, they did know each other. But could he not have been driving down the road and Candace have met him as she went down the driveway that day in the truck? Perhaps the baby was in the truck with her and the baby wasn't there when she went back up. Because if you think about it, not only was he trying to get it off the internet, the content that he was using, but if he was doing it, he needed to come up with as much content as he possibly could. Who's to say he wasn't creating it himself somewhere in a back room or a basement or wherever?
Right.
So when I did a video on him, that's what my video was about.
Right.
And you say you ask lots of questions. Let me tell you something. I make fun of Don B all the time because that's all he does is ask questions.
Right.
And I think that's why he won't get on panel, because when you're on panel, you have to actually answer questions.
Right.
So. And I tell you something else that aggravates the pee out of me that he does. He does it to me all the time. You be talking about something, and out of the blue, he'll say, "What does that have to do with Summer Wells missing?"
Right.
Like us talking about those guys and these guys, and he would just pop up and say, "What does that got to do with Summer Wells being missing?" That'll aggravate the pee out of me. So I very much enjoyed talking with you about stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. Had a good time. But I think I am going to dig me up a bowl of chili.
Oh yeah, I never did fix my fried pork chops.
Oh
Oh,
gosh, that sounds good.
I couldn't figure out if I wanted to do fried pork chops or country fried steak and gravy with mashed potatoes and fried green beans. Oh,
Mm,
that does sound good, don't it?
it does.
All
Definitely.
right, Scott. I appreciate you stopping by, sweetheart. And like I said, I sent you that email. I'll look that up tomorrow and see if I can't get it sent off to you, okay?
Okay.
And you have a great night, sweetheart. Come by anytime. Stop in, say, hey, drop the link. I'm here.
All righty.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye, Scott.
Bye bye.
Hey, guys. It's just us, kiddos. Does that sound good, Nish? I'm a good cook. I really am. I just am overcooking. It is all connected, I believe. You two were good therapy for me today. Well, thank you. It's all good. Scott's just good therapy for anybody. Come on, you got to admit it. You can be ready to strangle somebody and sit down and start listening to that man's voice, and you're lulled off to sleep. Fun fact: try not eating after 6 p.m. till breakfast. It's true. Absolutely 100% true, especially if you're trying to lose weight. I'm so glad I stopped by. Well, thank you, Stars and Stripes. I'm glad you're here too. Did Doug not have a live tonight? I mean, trust me, you're more than welcome to stop by here anytime, and I'm so tickled pink that you did stop by. It's just normally I'm done by now and I catch Doug's lives. I wish Doug would. Doug told me he would stop by and talk one day when I got my yard stream fixed, because last Saturday he would been busy with his kids all day. Well, crap, what, Lisa? Scott's already gone. Well, I'm hoping you will be, sweetheart. You are welcome here anytime. I promise you. And if ever you want to get up here on panel, you are more than welcome to. Here, everybody has a say. Everybody has a right to get up on panel when they want to say something. If they have a thought, theory, feeling, it don't matter. Everybody should make themselves at home at Nana's place. If it weren't for viewers and subscribers, there would be no channel. I'm happy you're here, Ruby. I am so happy you guys are here. Everybody is welcome here. I have really enjoyed your live. Thank you, funny face. Nana, Scott warms my heart with his kind heart. Yes, he does. And with that warm voice, too, huh? I don't know who was it, DS, that was accusing me of flirting with him. But Lord, he's as bad as everybody going crazy when Don B walks into a chat room somewhere, going crazy over him like he's a superstar. All the women go crazy over Scott's voice. That's right, it is. Thank you, Thunder. And I make a nice hostess. Well, thank you. I love giving parties. That's why when I make some extra money, I'm telling y'all I'm going to rent a big convention center or a big barn somewhere, and we're going to have one heck of a party. Everybody's going to show up for real in real life, and we're going to have a party, a real one with music. Lord, I can't stand not having my music. Is John Q one they go crazy over? I've only seen him one time. I was listening to oh Lord, I gotta admit this. I saw the title or something and on BK's channel, and I stopped to see what they were talking about. Or somebody sent me over to actually watch the video, and John Q was on there. Yep, 10 months today, sweetheart. I believe it's after 12. Yeah, it's after 12 o'clock, so it's 10 months today. Well, today for me, anyways. Okay, everybody, I love yous, each and every one, with all of my heart. I promise you I do. But I have been on here for 8 hours. And I do believe it might be time to go, like Scott said, and grab something to eat. For one, I'm shackled. Oh, I'm shocked he was on BK's channel. He was. They were discussing what was the name of that one road, that Treetops Road or whatever it is. Nana gargle warm water and salt every once in a while. Yep, it helps take care of the bacteria and stuff in your mouth. Woohoo! And celebrate summer, and she'll be dancing too. That's right. That's absolutely right, Lisa. Good night. Love to you. See you soon. I hope so, baby girl. I hope you come back. Or, baby, we decided you were a girl, didn't we? Didn't you tell me you were a female? I hate messing up like that. That's why I ask everybody if they're male or female. Ain't nobody doing 8 hours, people. Give it up for Nana. Well, thank you, Thunder. I love you too. Yes, you are female. Okay, thank you. Oh, you just took that off my head. I was so worried that you might have been a male and I referred to you as a female. Thank you. Okay, Shelly, thank you. I will read it, hon, as soon as I jump off of here. Anyways, as I was saying, I love you guys. Nana, Nana, Nana. You know I gotta say it, Thunder. Batman! Good night, much love. Who's that from? Oh, Funny Face. Good night, sweetheart. I was glad you came. Thank you for coming. Teresa, it's all good. Shelly, Laura, thank you for being here, babe. Lisa, Nish, or Thunder, or you're special, and you got to always be in my chat. You have to be. All of my subs and my viewers are special. Every one of yous. Ruby, thank you for showing too, babe. Stars and Stripes, I'm so happy you were here. I'm looking. I don't see anybody else that I've missed. Faye, I think, is already gone. If you're not Faye, thank you for coming. I think that's everybody. Bon Faye, Oh, sweetheart, you'll have to do the replay. Yeah, I'm sorry you missed it too, but we've been going for 8 hours. I've had Scott H on here for, I think, what, 4 hours? Good night, everybody. I'm going, Nish. I promise. Good night, everybody. I love yous. I'll see you guys next time. Ring the bell, hit the thumbs up like Nish says, guys. Y'all have a great morning, night, wherever you are. Good night, Laura.